Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle video tutorial on Photoshop and creating a pattern from a shape that can be used in a shape. So I've got a design here that I've just created. Now this pattern design can be used as a pattern within a shape. So I'm going to go through the steps to do it. So I'm just going to close that, don't save. Oh, some of my designs there, and then just go to File and New. The key thing is just going to here, obviously you can vary the size, perfectly reasonable. I always go for transparent background contents. So click Create, and you've got that design there. Let's just bring that out there and work with this. What you can do, if you've got the latest version 221, of course you don't need 221, but it makes it a lot easier if you've got 221 because you can use the pattern preview. And I'm just going to be using it, but you can still just do exactly the same as define a pattern using earlier versions as well. So that's reasonable. So what you can do, you can go to View and Pattern Preview. Come up with a little, even though I've actually clicked that so many times, don't show again. It always still reappears, has a mind of its own. Just go OK. Yeah, I know, but I'm going to go with shapes. So just going to go over here, just go to the custom shape. Now this might be in a different position depending on your Photoshop. So custom shape tool, just go over there, custom shape tool, and obviously set the colour. I'm going to go for red, so you can really see it, and I'm using a shape. You could use pixels, very reasonable as well, but shape, fine as well. Also you can set stroke, etc. Also select obviously the custom shape you want to create or to use. So I'm going to go with this design here. And what I can do is just quickly add it. Now you can see the red, it's just duplicated. Now this is the other one that's just created there is not real, it's just a preview of what the pattern would create. So it doesn't exist. So if you save the document, it's not going to save it. It's not a pattern design, but there you can just create a design very quick, but it makes it very easy just to create a pattern design. You've got a navigator, you can zoom in, and you can see the design there. So that's quite useful. What you can then do, press return. I want to define it, and this is exactly the same in all previous versions as well. What you can do, just send your way back to Photoshop version 6, where you can go edit and you can go define pattern, and you can give it obviously a name and click OK. So that pattern now is stored away, and if you go to window and you can see patterns, you can see your pattern there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to File and New. Create a new one there, create. So you've got that design there. What you can, this document, now I'm just going to select a different, go down here to custom shape. And again, I've got that shape there, I've got fill, all those sort of things. Now if you use pixel, you don't get access to that. So shape is definitely the best one here. So shape, go for shape there, go to the click here to the fill and go along. So you've got there, you've got solid color, you've got gradient, and you've got pattern. So what you can obviously do, just select your pattern. So that's the fill that's going to be used. That was the design that's just created. And now you've of course got the shape that you've got here. And I'm just going to add shape. And you can see your design. However, of course, it doesn't look particularly brilliant because you can see. Now, if you don't want the transparency, you can work with this without transparency at all. Doesn't need transparency. Transparency, I always prefer to do my patterns with transparency because it means I can look through and I can add layers on top of things, and you can always combine with maybe a backdrop and those sort of things. If you don't want that, I'll just go through it, obviously without it in a sec, but I just quickly want to show you this one. This is just what you can do, you can go scale, and you can scale the design there. Obviously make it too small, you can see you've got your design up there. And there's your lovely pattern filled shape with the same shape. Doesn't have to be, of course, the same design. There's no reason it has to be. So let's just go back completely to new fresh document. Again, using the same side. Instead of transparent, I can use white, I can use black. I'm just going to go with white. And again, you can if you want to, you don't have to. And actually for this one, I will not show. I could use pattern preview. You don't need pattern preview. And this is obviously with other versions. And again, just go to custom shape tool. There's the custom shape tool, and you can select a different custom shape. Now I'm just going to go for one I created earlier. It's a circular arrow design, and again I've got that, and I'm going to put it back to a solid fill, maybe blue. There's blue, and you can of course add a stroke to it as well if you want stroke. So maybe set size like 10 or something so you can actually see it, and then add it like that. Of course, the pattern I can't see it particularly well. See it now. Yeah. So you've got that design. You can of course add effects to it. You can go to maybe make it a smart object, apply filters to it, all those sort of things. But layer style, maybe a bevel emboss. Let's just go for a bevel emboss, and you've got your design there. And again, pattern preview makes it easier to create a more complex pattern. You can always do that using offsets and all those sort of things if you want to do that. But once you've got this design, what you can then do, you can go to Edit and Define Pattern. You can see the design there. Just store weight pattern there. Now I'm just going to remove it. Because what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go over to the custom shape tool, and I could use the same shape there, but I don't have to. I can use maybe a different design. There's a button there. Again, go over here, set the pattern here, and instead of using that one with the transparency, I'm going to select that one instead. And you can see design there. Now, usefully, you've got properties. If you've got a fairly recent version of Photoshop, you've got properties over here. Now you can find all these in here, window properties, etc. You can see down here, fill. That's quite useful as well. So you can go in there, and then you can click there, and you can see change things. So if you want to, you can go to scale, so you can scale it. You'll see your design there. Maybe go for there. And also another thing that's really quite nice, and this is a recent addition, you've got angle as well. So if you decide, you know what, I want a different angle, you can change the angle. It takes a few seconds to process, but you can see you can angle it and get different designs from that. So you've got your custom shape filled with a pattern design that was created using a custom shape. Doesn't have to be again the same one. That's the key thing. There's also other options as well if you want to, and you can always go to layer style, and there's a pattern overlay there. So you can always go to pattern overlay, and of course that fills that. But you can always go down and select your custom shape there. So that's another option. You can just apply patterns that way. That's more an older style of using patterns there. You can move that around. And of course what you can do, you can also change the blending mode. So if you want to, you can just go there and maybe go for difference. And you can see you can get a nice combination with the original design that was already there, obviously that design, as well as obviously the pattern overlay as well. And also you can combine it with grain. Sadly, for some weird reason, they never updated it so you can have multiple patterns. I would love to see that. It doesn't make any sense because I think sometimes combinations of patterns would make a very useful feature, but you can't, there's no plus option there. The way around that is you can always go and convert it to a smart object, so layer and smart object. So just turn it into a smart object and then add another pattern overlay to that. Then convert that to a smart object and add another pattern overlay to that. If you want to combine patterns made up of, obviously, custom shapes again. Now, the reason I did this because someone asked me about Affinity Photo, because Affinity Photo can do similar sort of things. It's done in a slightly different way, and depends how you work. You might find one easier than the other, but this is just want to show you how to quickly create a pattern design using custom shapes and this in Photoshop. This is using 221, but much the same in 220, 219, etc. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator, Critter, Affinity Photo, and many, many others. Also, please, would you subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel? I always put this. I always hope that people will subscribe because I'm always adding new videos virtually every day. And also, please put some comments. If you've got any comments, any questions, what things did I do wrong? What did I do right? Probably lots of things wrong. Maybe went too fast. Please let me know. Also, a dislike or like. Always appreciated. Thank you much.